All right. Good day, good day, good day, good day. Let's see. Share the link around to invite people. Then we get started. Ooh. Okay. Share to the screen. Yeah. All right. Good day, everyone. Give me a few seconds. I just want to share the link. Then we start. But if you have any questions, we are here. You have any questions, just drop your questions in the comments. So today I'm going to be sharing my experiences with the ALX Software Engineering program. You know, a lot of us who have started already know how hectic it is and are wondering how some of us are surviving. So I believe that by sharing my experience with you, you'd be motivated and find the best route to go about this. So that is the essence of today's session. For that matter, just drop your questions that you have. Any questions you have about the program, drop it in the comment section and I will attend to it. But for now, let me just quickly share the links into the groups. Yes, Ibrima J. Yes, I see you. Okay, good day. Orion, you're welcome. I see you everywhere I go. That is good. Thank you for coming. All right. I see some of my colleagues here. So hopefully they will also be sharing their experiences. Sana, you're also welcome. Welcome. Okay. Let's see. So what's going to happen to is that I am going to be adding some of the Cohort 8 members in as guests so that they can get to ask their questions directly here. Oh, this group, where are you? Let me quickly find you and let me start. Yes, this gold. Yes, good evening, good. So when you come, kindly introduce yourself. Let's know who is here and who is not here so that when we are sharing the puff, you know who to send it to. Okay, subgroup, okay. Yes, let's know those who are here. Just say hi in the comment section, and we're getting started now. Paste. All right, all right. Oh, someone is trying to join in as a guest but struggling. Um, Salimari, kindly check your is it microphone and video. You've not been added in, so you can't really speak for us to hear. But then let's get started. All right. So usually you're all welcome to this session. And as I mentioned earlier, this session was purposely organized for us to share our experiences, what has gone on in this ALS programming, and for me to share with you how I've been surviving. At least some of you who have been seeing my videos have been wondering, who is this guy? How come he understands so much and why are we struggling? Okay, the truth is that I also equally started like you. In fact, I can say I'm just like you. And what I mean by that is that I have no knowledge on C programming, even though you see me teaching C programming. That is to say that before I joined ALS, I had no knowledge of C programming. So everything I learned about C that I'm teaching is actually what I learned during the ALS program. So the question that I get frequently is, how do you learn this, or how are you able to come by this sort of knowledge and be able to break it down for us as such. So today we are here so that we will demystify all those things, show you the way. I'm going to cut soap for everyone here. I'm going to cut soap for everyone here. Okay, there are no secrets to the game, and it's just one or two things that we need to put in order to be able to go the routes that will lead us to understand and be able to do the kind of things I'm able to do. So thank you all for joining. I am really grateful for spending your time here joining us today. Then, just as I said, if you have any questions, just put them in the comment section. I'll pick the questions one after the other. At least I've seen one question here, which is quite interesting. So I may be starting with that question in particular. But for now, if you have any question, just go ahead and put your question in the comment section. All right. As soon as you put it there, if I see it, I'm going to highlight it so that I pay attention to it. But note that we don't have all time. It's a first come, first serve basis. So whatever question you have concerning the journey to becoming a software engineer, or specifically with regards to the ALS program, just go ahead and ask. Okay. The first question on my set right now says that, thank you for your time. Okay. Please, I would like you to explain in details how you break down questions, your thought process, and how you approach the task. Thank you. So how you approach the task is actually something that I wanted to talk about like in a whole. So maybe I should start from there, and hopefully by the time I'm done, you would appreciate this, or you get an answer to this particular question. Okay. So I've realized that a lot of us, I mean, those taking the ALS program, we are in a hurry to just jump to tax. I go to tax and go and solve the tax, because at the end of the day, that is what ALS is about: solving your tax and submitting them. But I bet to differ with regards to that. When it comes to, well, I think even the very first thing is that to even have started this program, the first thing you have to look at is what your motivation is. Okay. Hopefully, everyone who joined the program has a motivation, but unfortunately, we all don't have that same motivation. And how strong your motivation for the program is will determine how far you go. Okay, Sana is here, so I'm adding you to the stream. But for now, let's say you can keep mute whilst I go through this introduction. Then, when the time is due, I'll bring you on so that we have our discourse. So I'm just doing some form of introduction. I mean, when by now you all have made a decision, you want to become software engineers. Definitely something inspired that decision. Why do you want to become a software engineer? To me, I have a very strong motivation, and in fact, you see, I bear a title doctor. I've been to school before. I've done my degree as a doctor of pharmacy, but here I am. So the question would be, why did you leave practice? Actually, that's what I did. I've left my practice and I'm learning to become a software engineer. So it definitely has to take a huge motivation, a very strong one for me to be here. Okay, so that is one thing that is keeping me going. And in fact, the thought of quitting will never cross my mind as it stands now. The thought of quitting will never cross my mind. Reason being that I know what I've given up to come here. Okay, so what it takes first is a strong motivation. Whatever your motivation is, I believe that the first thing that you need to do right now is to write it down. Take note of what that motivation is, because the times are getting tougher. Okay, and it's just that motivation that will keep you going. In fact, Jim Rohn once said that he hears a lot of people complaining that motivation does not last, and he said yes, so does brushing of your teeth. When you brush your teeth, it doesn't last. So because of that, on a daily basis, you still come back to what? Brush your teeth again. So it is the same, or it applies to motivation. It may not last, and hence you'd have to also do, how do you call it? You'd have to also, I mean, motivate yourself on a daily basis. And how you ensure this is by constantly looking at that motivation that you had from the beginning. So, what pushed you to learn software engineering? All right. Why are you in for tech? Whatever your reason is, just write it down, let it motivate you on a daily basis. If it is not strong enough, when the frustrations come in, you are likely to give up. And that I know for sure. I've met a lot of people. This our program admits a lot of students, but at the end of the day, not everyone is able to stay. And that is just because the motivation wasn't that strong enough. Yes, it is tough, but if you have a strong motivation and the zeal to succeed, you would definitely be tougher than how tough ALS is. All right, so that is just by the way. Now let's go to tax. How do you tackle tax? How do you tackle tax? Let me come in. I'll add you all to the stream when this is ready. But for now, let me share my screen, then open my ALS portal. At least if you are from ALS, hopefully by now you know how the portal looks like and what is there. Okay, so let me just open any project that's especially cohort 8, because this meeting is targeted towards cohort 8. So one that cohort 8 members can really okay, I learned you are doing linked list. Okay, so let me open linked lists, share my screen. All right, here we go. Here we go. Great, great. Okay, so as you can see on my screen now, we have singly linked lists, and like this is the portal that I've logged into. So assuming that today that is what I want to learn, okay, this is what I want to learn for today, or that is the task that is at hand for today. How do I approach it? That's the first thing that we are interested in. How do I approach it? Yeah, if for this specific topic, if you check my YouTube channel, you realize that I did a learning in public to show you exactly how I approached it, show you how I was learning. Like, no, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know about this linked list. How I started it, I went about it from beginning. I don't think I finished anyway, but at least if you ever go through that video, you get to see exactly how I do these things. But then let me summarize it here. So one, whenever a concept is introduced to me, I want to know, do I have any knowledge at all about this concept? What at all do I know about it? So if I ever have, or if I have any sort of knowledge about it, I want to flesh it out first. So let me recite it or speak it out. What do I know about singly linked list? Let's say this is the first time I'm coming to learn it in ALS, but have I heard it before? Has it been mentioned anywhere at all that I've come across? Once I'm able to get into that state, oh yeah, I think I heard singly linked list here. What did the person say about it? All right, so I try to recall every possible thing that I already know about it before I even get into it. There are topics that I have no idea about. For instance, when we started pointers, it was my first time ever hearing pointers and seeing it. Okay, so something like that, I have no previous knowledge of it, so I don't even go there. But if I have previous knowledge of it, then I want to start with my previous knowledge of the topic, try and flesh it out, maybe recite it, talk to myself. I usually learn how I teach. So if I am learning something, I try to explain it to myself, trying to convince myself first that, hey, do you believe what you are saying? If I'm able to convince myself, then after I have learned it, I want to come and convince you to also get what I am teaching. Okay, so that is how I start. Then now let's assume that this is a topic that I have no idea about. If I have no idea about, the first thing I come is, hey, what is the concept that they have provided? So let's go read this concept. I take my time to go read the concept, try and get a general understanding, because the concept is like a general overview of it. Okay, so come here, read, go to all the resources that are provided here, try and read and get a broader knowledge on the topic. Then I start with the resources that are provided. I go through the resources one after the other. I go through the resources one after the other to get an understanding of what they are asking of us. Okay. Then the next thing to do is take your quiz, obviously, because there is almost always a quiz to take. So to take the quiz. And one thing I've realized is that a number of you would want to jump around for answers to the quiz. So even before you come here, hey, you start going into the groups to ask for answers to the quiz. And that is one thing I don't recommend. All right, because the quiz is like, I use the quiz as an assessment of what I have learned or what I'm expected to know. So if I come here and there is a question that I do not know, then the what it tells me is that there is something I probably missed. I didn't learn that. So let me go and get that information. That is what the quiz is to me. It's just guiding me. Hey, you were supposed to learn this. Have you learned it? No. You were supposed to learn this. Have you learned it? The only time I will ever seek for answers to the quiz will be if I am against time. Assuming I wasn't available to learn for the day. I mean, it's only close to the deadline and I have not done anything, then I'm in a hurry to go through it. That is the only time, which I don't even think has ever happened before. But I believe that that's the only time that I will just go and ask around, hey, do you have answers to these quizzes? All right. So use the quiz as a guide. It's telling you what you need to know. Do you really know what a node is? If you don't, then you have to go back and go and read about what a node is. Do you know when we say the head of a linked list, do you know what it is? If you don't know the head of the linked list, then it's time to go and find out what's the tail and all that. So by doing that, I'm able to get a fair idea of what I'm expected to know. Then it comes to the task. The biggest headache that every ALS student has is understanding these tasks and what bringing answers out of them. Then you realize that you'd go watch my videos, watch all the resources, and you feel like pumped to understand everything. Oh yeah, this topic, singly linked list. Now I understand singly linked list. Then you come to ALS, and ALS is like, ha, you thought you knew, you thought you knew, but you actually do not know. So that feeling is there. We all feel it. So don't feel stupid if sorry for my use of word, but I mean, don't feel bad if you ever went to read around, watch videos, and you came back and the text was like, hey, this is tougher than, or I actually don't know what they are saying here. Literally, I don't know what they are saying here, even though I understand the concept. All right, we've all been there before, it's normal. Okay, but then my big thing about all this is that you should understand the concept. That's what is important. Okay, as a software engineer, if I you finish this course, you're doing anything else, and we ask you, is the concept. It's not about these tasks that you were able to solve or you were not able to solve. So your focus shouldn't necessarily be on the tasks. The tasks are just there to guide you. Okay, so the task is to guide you to learn more. It's not like, hey, you went to learn, you are done. So now you should be able to solve the task. No, it's there to guide you on what you have to learn. So once you have come and there is something you are not understanding here, it means that you have to go and learn this. But then I am also an advocate of not spending all the time on just the task. I'm an advocate of understanding, spending all the time to understand the concept and use the least time to solve the task. Okay, so then if I'll before I'll come here, and I think I should mention this, a lot of you make this mistake where you go and learn, but you don't practice what you learn. How many of you have watched any of my videos and whilst watching, you probably sat down to code, or right after watching it, you sat down to code the examples that I coded in the video? And that is where the problem is. Don't just go watch videos. You got to practice. It is by doing that you would learn. All right. What you people do not see, especially when you're watching all those YouTube videos, which is why I hardly do those kind of YouTube videos, is that there are a lot of mistakes that people make along the line. But for us to put it on YouTube, the person is going to crop up all of those mistakes and give you the perfect parts. So they made a mistake, they debug, try to find out why it was not working. Then they cut that one out, show you the one that was working, because they have to optimize their video. If you are watching a video and you see that, oh, this person doesn't really know what he's doing, he's now debugging, he's suffering, you yourself will leave the video and not watch it. For that matter, YouTubers will always optimize their video for the views. So if you've realized, that is why I prefer to do a live session, so that when we are doing the live session, I'm sharing it, you are seeing it, I'm making the mistakes, we are all learning. And that is how we learn. But then I also expect you to take your time and write the code yourself. Because what I wrote that made sense, if you try writing it, you may find some challenges with it. Then that is where the actual learning takes place. When you come and watch me do, it's just the basic. You are trying to get the basic understanding, but the actual learning is in the practice. So if you don't get anything at all from this meeting, remember that the actual learning is where? In the practice. The actual learning is in the practice. Very important. Please don't forget that. The actual learning is in the practice. You need to sit down and write code as often as possible. So then what I do is that obviously we have deadlines to meet. Less than 24 hours, you are supposed to submit these tasks. Okay, so as soon as possible, I want to get these tasks done, then submit them. When I submit them, I take all my time to understand them so that tomorrow I can come and host a PLD and explain them to you. And this is what you should also try doing. But try finish as soon as possible. Spend the rest of the time to understand it, so that tomorrow, if I ask you about the task that you didn't understand yesterday, you'll be able to tell me what it is. Let me take that again. Spend the least time trying to understand. So little time to understand. Make sure you get the concept. Little time to solve the questions. After you have submitted the task, then you can spend all the time to understand. Okay, so the task that you did 3 weeks ago, that initially you didn't understand, I believe if I ask you again, you should be able to tell me, or if you go back to it, it should take you few seconds to remember. Okay, that means that you should spend a lot of your time trying to understand. That is very important. Okay, so how then do I go about this whole thing if I don't even understand it? How then do I go about it if I don't understand it? Well, That is why you are in a cohort. There are a lot of people, some may understand, okay? There are people who have already gone through it who may understand. So at times you just need someone to point you in the direction. Oh, what does this mean? I really do not understand it. Then they point you in the direction. It's saying this and that. Oh, interesting. That's what he says. Okay. So the next time you know exactly what that means and you know how to tackle it. Okay. So for instance, let's take this particular example. Write a function that prints all the elements of a list. Prototype given, return the number of nodes, format this, if string, blah, blah, blah. Then you have this. Okay. So now let's try going through this task. I'm coming. I'm not going to solve it, but I'm just going to walk you through how we go about it. What a lot of us do not know is that real life, in real life, your practice as a software engineer, no one is going to provide you with a prototype. Let us think. No one is going to provide you with a prototype. If you need to write a function, you have to come up with your own prototype. And that depends on what you are going to do or what you intend to achieve with that function. So what ALX is giving you in this task is that, hey, we know what we want. This function, we are asking you to write the code for the function. So we are telling you how it should look like. So you can just jump and say that, oh, the task said I should write a function that prints all elements of a list T, and you begin to wonder, how do I even do this? I don't even know what it's talking about. No, it says you should write a function, and then they've given you the prototype of the function. So ALX is telling you that this is what I want you to do. Write a function like this. Okay. The next important thing, he says that the return value, you should be returning the number of nodes. So then you have captured two things. You know the prototype of the function, then you know the return value of this function, right? This, at least for now, I presume cohort 8, cohort 7, or any of the cohorts, you should know what this means. Unless if you are here, you are new. But this is the return data type, right? Then the parameter that you are passing or the arguments that you are passing is over here. So you have to pay attention to this. Then they've given you format. The format of this is, they say, see the example. And I think a lot of us ignore this part, the part in here. A lot of us ignore the part in here. So maybe I should draw more on this. You learned Linux, at least the basis of Linux, before you started the program, and there was a reason. Let's read this line. If you open your terminal and you see something like this, what does it tell you? Or I think it's even up to this part, up to where the dollar sign is. This is just your default terminal, the prompt. This is just the prompt that shows. Okay, if you open your terminal, you will see something like that. Then what is this? Cat 0.main. You should understand this. Cat 0.main. What does it mean? What is the role of the function cat? Maybe I should use my in-house guest. My in-house guest, are you ready for the questions? Are you ready? Anyway, let me just continue. I'll call you soon. You people will start talking. So cat is just opening up the file and showing us what is inside this ALX file. So what is going to happen is that ALX is providing you with a main.c file that will contain the main function. So you are just going to create a function that ALX is going to call whenever the checker is run. Okay, so even before you go and write that your function, you should understand what is expected from the main.c. So don't just come and read this and say, hey, I didn't understand the task. No. The understanding of the task should be in this example. It should be in this example. What exactly they expect from you is from this example. Please pay attention to that. Okay, that is the essence of the examples they give you. So in here we have main.c, and in main.c, what they have given you is, hey, they are calling some malloc here. I can see that, I can see this. Then after all of this, so you take your time to try and interpret each one of them that is happening. Okay, so I can see that they are creating, oh, they are assigning a head here. Oh, okay, all right, so we are going to have a list. Probably you should start asking yourself, where is the, I mean, the structure for this list. Okay, the struct for this list. That should be one concern. Then you come in here, we are calling the malloc to allocate space, blah, 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 this. Then most importantly, you see the function you've been asked to create is this, and they are passing a head to it. The function is called print_list. Remember, I think from the prototype, yes, from the prototype, it says print_list. So you are checking inside their main.c where they are using that function. Here they are using the function that you have created, and they are passing the head to it. Here too, they are doing same. All right. Then you come to the output to see what kind of output are they getting when they run the file they've created. So this means that if I use this main file that I've been given, so I can go ahead and create a file, call it 0main.c. Okay, create that file 0main.c. Then when I create my function, I'll run it together with the 0main.c, and I should expect these outcomes. This should be the outcome. So far as you are not getting this kind of outcome, then you've not answered the task. So this is the essence of the main, these examples that you are given. Pay attention to what is inside the function here. What exactly are they doing? What is expected of you? When they call your function, what does it do? Great. When they call your function, what does it do? Then this is the outcome. Okay, it prints out these two things. Okay, so if I do it, I should also get a similar thing. All right, so that is how you should tackle all your text, all your tasks. Before you go wondering how the or what this means, try and make meaning out of this that you were given. See what the outcome is, and that will help you solve the task. I can't go into specifics now. All right, so that is how we tackle the task. Okay, but just as I'm saying, try as much as possible to finish as soon as you can. So if it is taking forever for you to get this, just find somebody who knows it. Find somebody who has done it. Let them walk you through. Okay, how do you do this? How do you do this? All right, let me just go and do it. Then you do it. After you are done, now spend the rest of the time to understand how it was done. Okay, so that is why there is POD after all the discussions. After all the tasks, there is POD. You have to go and see how the thing was done. Discuss amongst yourself how you came by it. How did you even know that we're supposed to write something like this? All right, but that would have been done after you have submitted the work. So as soon as possible, just submit it. The other thing that you can do is get someone's solution. Then look at it critically, see how they did it. Okay, then if possible, ask the person questions. Why did you choose this one? Okay, now I understand. Why this? Why not this? All right, so that is how you are going to learn to tackle the task. So basically, that is how I tackle my ALS task. Okay, how I tackle my ALS task. Then I use the resources that I use. A lot of people reach out and they're like, hey, what resources do you use? The fortunate thing is that I use everything. Like literally, if I have to learn about C, if I go to Google, I just Google, singly linked list. I just Google singly linked list in C, right? Some of the websites stands out for me. For instance, Java T Points. I've been using their resources. So if I come here, you see that this is even indicating that I visited. You visited this page 2 times. Last visit was 26th July. Okay, so then I'll just come open this, go and get all the information there is to get from there. See, if you really want to see exactly how I do it, you just have to watch that video that I did, and you get to see I went through these same resources, read them one after the other, and it's all captured in that video that I did, just to show you how I go about it. But then when I'm done, Geeks for Geeks to usually have good content. So I'll come here, try and read if there is need to read. But essentially, my focus should be on practicing. So I should end up practicing. Then I also like to learn a lot from videos. So I go to YouTube, search for the same topic, and get what the YouTubers are also saying. Recently, just take note of this. Let me go to YouTube. There are two channels that have caught my attention on YouTube that I use for C programming. One is Jenny's Lectures. Yes, Jenny's Lectures. I get a lot from her videos. Very, very good. Very, very good lessons on C. So you can use her lessons on C, Jenny's lectures. Go to playlists and programming in C. There are about 150 videos. There are about 150 videos, and she teaches a lot of stuff there. So just give it a try. Okay, this is one of the reasons. If you pay attention, you realize that I've watched most of her videos. Okay, so you'd have to consume a lot of content to get the wealth of knowledge that you are looking for. I've also come across Neso Academy, which I think I also like their videos. C programming from Neso Academy. So pay attention to that. Let me put it in the comments section. Neso Academy. Okay. So Neso Academy. Then the first one I mentioned was Janie's lectures. I think so. Okay, so either of them, so far I've been using them and I think they are good. But I don't only limit myself to their content. I come out here and any of the content that if I start and I feel that, oh, okay, this is something I want to continue watching, I just watch it. Maybe the person is showing me some things or teaching some things that I didn't know. I watch it. But don't spend all your time in watching videos. There is a concept in software development that we call tutorial hell. Like people are stuck to tutorials. You are just watching tutorial over tutorial over tutorial over tutorial, and you never go to write a single line of code. That is a big problem. So don't just focus on watching tutorials. Start writing the code. Where you feel stuck, go and do the research. Why am I not getting this? Then you do the research. That is when you bring out the good things. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't even know this. I've read this, but I didn't pay attention to it. Oh, okay. So I needed to do this. So that is how we go about it. So these are the kind of resources I use. I think at least if for nothing at all, Java T Point is a good resource I've been using. Sometimes I do read from Geeks for Geeks. That is also good. And Programmers, yes, Programmers too is here. Programmers too has good resources, very explained, basic understanding, like for basic understanding. And I think there is one site to scalar.com, but I don't know. I think you have to create an account with them to have access to it. But I've been using scalar.com as well. Okay, so try get that. Scalar.com. Probably after the meeting, I would pull together the resources so that I share with you all. I mean, after this session, probably. Okay, so scalar.com is one of the platforms that I use. So at least, if for nothing at all, I've mentioned scalar.com, I've mentioned Java T Point, I've mentioned Geeks for Geeks. Those are the online resources. I've mentioned 2 YouTube channels that you can use. Then I use textbooks as well. So if unfortunately I've not shared that part of my screen. All right, let me try this, show you something. Okay, so if I go into my folder, C programming, I've downloaded a number of books. So depending on the topic that I am looking at, I can easily come here and download any of, open any of them and look for the information I'm looking for. For instance, currently you are doing data structures, that is singly linked list. So this is a book that talks about data structures in C. Oh, unfortunately, it's opening somewhere else. Let me, nope, copy this. Okay, let me open it here. How cannot be accessed? Oh, all right. Let me share this here. Yeah, so this is it. I hope you can see. Okay. So if you pay attention to it, a lot of the things in here is just about data structures. You can get the linked list stuff in here. All right. But how do I get this book? So it doesn't really matter me sharing the books with you. I just downloaded it online. Just go to pdfdrive.com or .net, pdfdrive.com or .net. You'll find those books there. So it's what? pdfdrive.com or .net. Any of them works. That's where I download the books from. You just come here, say C programming, or if it is data structures in C programming, something like that, and see what we get. Then, depending on what catches your attention, you can go ahead and download it. So you see here, data structures and C programming. You can just go ahead and download it. Any book that you are looking for, you probably, let me not say any book, but there are a lot of books that you are likely to get from here. So that is where I get the textbooks from. So now I've mentioned the various online resources, the textbooks where I get them from, then the YouTube channel. So these are the resources that you should really bother yourself about. The rest of the stuff is about you writing your code. Okay. So now let me start taking your questions. I've shared the experience with that. Let me start taking your questions. The first one here says that, which I think I was working on, explain details how you break down questions. Yes. So I personally like to ask a lot of questions. I like to ask why a lot. So why this? Why that? Why that? If I do something, if you wrote something, I'm asking why, why. So until I find the reasons, I do not stop. And once I am finding the reason, it becomes easy for me to break it down for you. Okay. So I can come and tell you that, oh, this is this because I already have found the reason to it. Then another way that I learn personally is that I try to connect things that I already know to the things that I'm learning. And it becomes easy for me to make analogies when I am teaching because then I've been able to connect it. But even then, there is a science behind it. That if I'm able to connect what I am learning today to something I've already learned before, it becomes difficult for me to forget. Okay, because scientifically, there are some neural interconnections going on in the brain. You are connecting the knowledge you are now acquiring to what you have acquired before. Okay, so that is one way that I always want to, in my own mind, I want to break it down and say, hey, okay, what does this even look like? We are talking about linked list. Linked list. What does it? What can I compare linked list with? Okay, so I'm asking myself those questions and I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, okay, I think this is the best. Yes, I can compare it to this. All right, let me try. So I try to compare it to things that I know and see, does it make sense? Then if it makes sense, it becomes my thing. So anytime I'm talking about linked list, I know that, hey, this is what I'm going to talk about. or this is what I am going to say. Okay, so if you watch the lessons on linked list, you realize I was talking about policemen, the policeman being asked to investigate a criminal case, and they sent the policeman to go to the head of the let's say the gang who went to commit the crime. The policeman was pointed to the head, so you went to the head. That is your pointer to the head. Okay, then you can move it. The head is pointing to the first person, so the head is showing the policeman, go to this person, it's with this person. Then your pointer moves there. Then that person also points after you look for it, it points to the next one. I'm sure if you watch it, you see it. But this is something that I sit down to think about. Like, what's how does this mean? Like, what do they mean by this? Oh, does it mean this? Then I come up with analogies that will help me always remember these things. Okay, so that is how I go about it, and at least I've shown you how I approach the task. So I think this question is answered. The next question that I got. Ooh. Okay, let me put it here. So, Segun, let me put your question in the comment so that I can highlight it. Okay. Um, specialization. Specialization. One of two areas. So, ALS is giving us a chance to choose one out of two specialties. Which one am I going to choose and why? That's a great question. But I think someone even asked me yesterday. All right. So this question is actually more of an individual question than just a general question. So I have to answer it based on my own um, intuition or experience. Okay. And by saying that, I mean you shouldn't just go and choose it because I decided to choose it. Okay. So what you realize is that the ALS program is training you to become a full stack engineer. We are going to do both front end and back end in your 9 months foundation. So by the time you are going to choose the specialization, you're already a full stack engineer. Just that you are now choosing to go focus on one. All right. So personally, I have experience in both front end and back end. I do both of them. And I'm just going to settle for one. But then it's just because ALS is asking us to settle for one. So eventually, I'll still manage to learn the other things that ALS has to offer. So personally, I'm going to go with back end because I have so much exposure to front end. I've been doing front end for a while now. Basically, front end, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then probably some JavaScript libraries or frameworks. I really do not know the whole thing that package that ALS offer for front end development, but I long to see it. However, I'll go for back end. I think back end they are going to be using Python, and I want to just get well versed in there. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be learning the React and Co. I'm definitely going to learn it. I'm going to learn everything that they have to offer me. But just for the specialization in ALS, I will do back end. And I've said my reason is simple. It's just because I have experience with the front end, and even back end, I have experience. But what they are going to teach us, I don't have any experience in that aspect of the back end. For that matter, I'm going to settle for it. But then let me give a general advice here. I think front end and back end, what you people should know is that with the front end, if you are one person that has an eye for design, like you like colors, you like playing with colors, you like, oh, you can pinpoint things. No, this was not nice. It should have been done this way. When you look at an app, you easily complain about, oh no, I think this was not done right. Okay. If you have that eye for details, you should be looking towards the front end because you'll be building what the user will see, what we'll call the user interface. Okay. So you'll be writing code for the user interface. So if you have a good eye for design, that should be your thing. For the back end, the funny thing is that with the back end, it's a lot of logic. Okay, so you have to be that type of person who likes logic to be able to go for the back end. You have to, like, I mean, do a lot of connections here and there. Almost all these data structures things that you are learning will fall more under the back end. Okay, if I'm going to select data, if somebody clicks that button that the front end developer has put there, how are you storing the data so that that person can easily or effectively or efficiently grab the data they are looking for? Okay, so if you have a thing for logic, you like reasoning, all right, I feel that then you should go for the back end. But if you have a thing for design, you can easily point things out, then go for the front end. So that is what I can say about a specialization. But then don't forget that by the time you are going to choose it, you would have gone through the front end and the back end. Then you make your final decision from there. So don't worry yourself so much right now. If you don't know what any of these things are, by the time you get there, you would actually appreciate. Then you get to know that, oh, okay, I think I like back end or I like front end. It is until you get started doing it, you may not really appreciate it. So just keep it in there, keep an open mind. Hey, you may say today that, like right now, I'm here saying I want to do back end. I can come 6 months from now and say, no, I finally decided I want to do front end. I'm that open minded about things, provided the facts that I have before me at any point in time. That is how I'm going to make my decision. But for now, I say back end. All right, any other question? So, my guests, now we can bring you on. Let's see if you have any questions for me. I'll be glad to answer your questions. Then those of you watching, to put your questions in the comment section and I would be glad to answer your questions. Yes, so any questions? Anyone amongst you? Or you want to share your experience? How has it been? ALS. If you care to share your experience, you can unmute and share with us. How has it been? Or what do you think I can help you with? I think that would be a great way to start.
So yeah, good day everyone. Um
Good.
I wouldn't say the my story in specific has been different from what every other person out there is actually experiencing. It's still the I can to an extent from conversations with people I can say it's almost 80%, 70% thereabout because a lot of persons are also experiencing these things with personal life and having to balance through
Mm,
yes, and how tasking and demanding it is, you know. So my question for you in specific is so you obviously a doctor and you had to leave the doctoring, like the whole pharmacy and everything. You had to leave it completely to focus on full stack, you know. You know, some persons are already in this pharmacy line and all that. I understand that it is personal. I understand it is personal, but at the same time, my first question is how have you been able to, like, you know, maybe not use the word give up on the journey thus far re- regarding the pharmacy line,
yeah,
and how you were able to pick up a new passion, you know, and how you've been thriving in that passion, you know, and coupled with
okay.
people who are coming, how people who are also in this line of direction that they have, you know, this difficulty in balancing their personal life and ALX and all of that. What would be your word to them, and how would you um, give them,
Okay.
like, yeah.
All right. Thank you for that question. I I probably saw it coming. Not that I saw it coming from you, but it's one of the commonest question I get, so I wouldn't be surprised to hear it. Yeah, but the truth of the matter is that I I got introduced to technology in 2013. That is the first time that, hey, my older brother gave me his laptop, so I now had access to a computer of my own. But prior to that, in my final year in high school, I was selected to be part of the robotics team. So as part a member of the robotics team, that was when I was exposed to, the computers. I think even on this channel, probably the first two videos I ever put out on YouTube here, I talked about how I became a programmer. Yeah. So that's time when I joined. I just joined, like I was added because of my academic performance. But then we were 10 people, five of us were added because of academic performance, five were added because of their tech knowledge. But when we went there, I realized that amongst the 10, I was like the least tech inclined person there. So these people that I'm competing with academically actually have other skill sets that I don't have. Then something needs to change for me. Okay. So that is the beginning of my whole story trying to get into tech. Then from there, I just moved out to the school's library, go get something that will introduce me to computers, something like I just needed something extra because all that I have currently is my book knowledge. And I'm competing with people who have extra set of knowledge. So probably I should be able to also go for them. Then I got to the library. I got a book that talks about building websites with HTML. Funny enough, I have that book still with me right now in my room. That is something that my school may end up punishing me for because I borrowed it from the library but they didn't retain it because that time I had completed school. Okay, so then fast forward to after completing high school, already I had been working with my father who was a licensed chemist. So I was already in the route of going to become a pharmacist. And prior to getting into tech, it was something that I know that this is what I want to do. Okay, so if you call it a passion, I was passionate about going into the health field. Then I push on to go to the uni. But then that 1 year, I think I sat home for 1 year after high school. I was teaching, but through the teaching, I was learning because now I had a computer and I had that book. So I was learning and practicing programming. I was learning anything tech that I came across, learning about how to research stuff and things. So when I went to the uni, it was part of the things I wanted to do, like continuing my tech journey. But pharmacy school is so demanding. Anyone who has been there before will be able to share that with you. In fact, if not to be biased, I can say that in my school, that's the most stressful course because we go for lectures 8 a.m., close at 5 p.m. every day. And every day we have lab reports that we have to go and write. You have quizzes to write. So there was no break for me. And I wanted to combine learning this IT stuff with my pharmacy. But along the line, it became difficult. I think it was having a toll on my academics right in my first year. First year after the first mid semester exams, I realized that no, I probably have to pause on it. So I paused on it, tried to get the best of grades. I was able to make excellent grades. And by my second year, second semester, my grades were very good. Then we had a less tighter schedule. So I decided that, hey, if I probably do this tech thing, maybe this is the only opportunity I have. So let me start. So it was in my second year, second semester, like after that, third year, first semester, that I started, hey, I'm doing these things. I do graphic design, I write programs, like it was basic programs, HTML, CSS, then I started learning PHP as well. So those were the things that I was doing. I was doing them for a while till I was in my sixth year in the university. Sit there, we go to the hospital. We go and work in the hospital. So I was in the hospital during the sit year. Fortunately, my boss had a pharmacy. They needed, before I even went, they needed a software for their pharmacy. So they called me and I said, yes, I can build one for you. I ended up building a software for them to use in the pharmacy. That's a point of sale software to use in the pharmacy. Then I went to go do this housemanship of a thing like hospital work. I love working in the hospital, saving lives, and then, but then I also saw a gap where there are a lot of things that were happening that I think that if we were using tech rightly, we should be able to prevent these things. And I hate the idea of letting the thing happen before we come in to treat it. So then, if we have a way to build this tech stuff, then can prevent it from happening. So I was more on the endocrinology ward, so dealing with people with chronic diseases, diabetes in particular, then also hepatology lab ward, so people with chronic liver disease and the things. And I realized that hey, there's a lot that we can do with tech. In fact, I researched and I saw that a lot of platforms has been created for these things out there, but we don't have them here. We could do something. So what I did and what you are seeing me doing right now is that I decided to take a 1 year break from practice. Come and figure it out. Like, can I get my hands wet with tech, try and build something to solve health problems? Okay, so that's my motivation. So it's not as if I've abandoned that, but then it's still I'm trying to connect the two and solve problems that I have always longed to solve. That's health problems. So that is my biggest motivation. I have to save lives, but if I can use tech to save more lives, then I want to go that route. Okay, so I've not abandoned practice. I am really practicing. In fact, every single day I publish articles. I run a health blog where I publish articles answering commonly asked health questions. Okay, so I am actively doing the work, even though I'm not in the hospital. But then, hopefully, in the near future, we should be able to use tech. Then I'm also that kind of person that believes that hey, if you can't really tell if you want a thing unless you give it your all. So now I'm giving it all my all for this year. I'm just going down. In fact, even before ALS came, I had stopped practice. I stopped practicing last year October. Then for 3 months, I took ALS cloud certification. I mean training for their introduction. What is it? Practitioner certification. I started with that. Then this year I started something we call. I even went to CS50, Harvard CS50. I started taking a course, but their videos are huge and I can hardly. When I play it, it doesn't play. I don't know. I'm probably thinking they are using 4K resolution, and I struggle to play it over here. So it wasn't going well. Then I started with the audience project, which is a self-paced learning full stack web development course. So I started with that. In the course of it, I discovered ALS. I was like, hey, if this is really it, then let me go for it. Besides, I'm also trying to go further my education in digital health or even software engineering to be able to come and do this. So if I've gotten a 1 year opportunity to do it, why not? So basically, that is why I am here. And in fact, I think I'm still on course, unless if you think otherwise.
For
Yeah,
a, for a matter of fact, this is a really really interesting conversation, and I can see the grit, the tenacity, exactly like wow. Thank you. This is really inspiring. Thank you for
you're
sharing this
welcome.
with me. Thank you.
Yes, so hopefully everyone out there who is also leaving something behind would now have a reason to keep doing what they are doing. That's why when I started with what your motivation is, okay? I just as I said, love to see people healthy. Okay. In fact, there is even a backstory to this whole thing, me stopping that I've not mentioned, but then I've lost two close people. That's my father and my uncle to chronic diseases. Okay, so and I feel that had we had something, right, that is actually the business idea that I'm working with right now, trying to eventually flash it out as a software engineer. Hopefully, by the time I'm done with ALS, I should be able to build a platform like that. Should we have had a solution like that, we probably could have prevented them from dying early. So something like this is what is keeping me going. Let me take other questions. What do you think about cloud computing role in software engineering? Do you know the interesting thing? I want to learn Java. I'm coming to answer Ola Joseph. I'm going to answer your question. Now I'm trying to touch all the tech that I can. Then eventually I'll settle down. This is my first year that I'm officially learning, so I'm exploring everything. Then I'm trying to learn Java. So yesterday, I don't know if I open my folder. Those of you who pay particular attention, you would have seen that the first folder that's open was a Java folder. So that means prior to this meeting, I was learning Java. I know ALS is not going to teach us Java, so I have to start learning it on the side if I really want to learn. But I was trying to explore the roadmap that people have given for learning Java. Then I realized that as a full stack engineer or software engineer, it's cool to know cloud. Okay. So if you are asking about cloud computing and software engineering, they are not the same thing anyway. But then if you know it, it's great. Especially it depends on where you want to work. Okay, if you want to go for funds, I mean the big companies that's Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, those people, if those are the ones you're targeting, then you can just stick with your software engineering. But somebody like me, where I want to build my own company, I think it's a good thing to have, a good skill to have, because then everything is moving to the cloud. So even if I'm going to be able to build my platform, I should be able to build a platform in the cloud. Okay, have the all the stuff in the cloud. So having it is an excellent thing. If you have checked the YouTube channel, you realize that I've been doing study with me sessions with a colleague. We are going to write another certification, the AWS Architect Solutions Architect Associate certification, hopefully by end of this month. Okay, so it is a good thing to have if you can just go for it. But for now, if you don't have the resources or the time, you realize that I have almost all the time because I'm not doing an external job. I do my own job. I mean, I work for myself now and I have all the time to learn whatever I want to learn. So, but if you don't have it, don't sweat it. If you have the time, learn it. You never know when it will come in hand. You may even get a job as a cloud engineer. It's possible, and there are a lot of roles in cloud computing itself. We have developers roles there, so you could probably pass as one of them. So those right, if you think it's something you want to go for it. If you want to ever work for startups, I think it's good to have broader knowledge. Okay, because then when you go in there, they hardly hire specialties. So they are looking for people who can offer a lot of knowledge or help. Let's see this one. Can I use a phone to go through the first month? The first month of ALS, you can, but I don't advise because I don't know. A lot of people have been doing this, but personally, I don't use my phone for things like that. Like hardly do I use my phone to study. Because when I want to study, I want to sit down. Like right now, my setup right now is something that puts me in a productive mood that I'm learning. This is time for learning. My phone is usually for playing. I pick my phone, I go answer questions and things, I chat here and there. But if that is the only thing you have, you can equally use it. Okay, especially once you said the first month, you can use it. But then to be productive, I wish you get a laptop or I mean a computer that you can use. Always make sure that like when you are learning, you put yourself in that learning mode instead of multitasking and doing things that are not related to learning. So that's what I can say about that. Wow, glad to hear this. I'm also a PhD holder in accounting and I love tech. Great, 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 great. Good. I'm very happy to hear this. Well done. My dream is to use software to solve accounting problems. This one, I will also clap for you. Great. So this is one thing that I'm also looking at, the revolution in Africa soon. Hopefully, we should be churning out solutions to tech problems. What I've seen is that a lot of the solutions that we currently have were built by foreigners and they are not always suited for our problems. One of the key things I identified working in the hospital is currently our government has adopted a platform that we are using to centralize work in the hospital. But then I realized that this platform was built by people who have no idea of how the health system is itself. So if I can train myself as an insider to do some of this job, then it will be better suited than an external person coming to do it. So now God is saying that he's an accountant. He knows the stuff in there. So if he's building solutions for accountants or accounting problems, then he can really easily understand those things. Do you get it? So whatever you are, wherever you are, in fact, I don't see any industry where we don't have problems that tech can solve, technology can solve. Almost every industry that you are in there, technology has a role to play in there. So you can be in whatever industry you are and use tech to solve the problem. So I like that. Good, nice to meet you. Hopefully, send me a hi. Let's have some conversations. I'm in the same cohort as you. Oh, great, 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 great. You're welcome. So this is a thank you. You're welcome. I'm trying to mention the name, but I just don't want to mention it wrongly. So you, thank you so much for the message. Probably send me a hi. Okay, let me know that you are the one. Okay. I hopefully if you are in you are in the same cohort as I am, then you are likely to find me on, even if you are not in the same cohort, so far as you're in ALS, you are likely to find me on Slack. But then if you are in the same cohort, hopefully you are in my Telegram group. So just send me a hi. Okay, I'll try to pronounce your name, but maybe I'll let you mention it first before. The next one, considering the C programming language is not really used anymore, what do you think about ALS teachings? Yes, I think I should have even mentioned this from the beginning. I've seen a lot of comments about these things that why is ALS wasting our time? This. No one uses it before. Like, no one uses these things again. And my take on it is that those comments are wrong because then you should also ask yourself, why is Harvard teaching C programming? Why is all the big software engineering, computer engineering, computer science schools teaching C programming? Right. If it is full stack web development that you want to do, just go and do it. You can easily have a course on full stack web development. Just go and start with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then do it. I have, as I said earlier, I started programming somewhere in 2013. And in my 7, 8 years of programming, I didn't know anything about memory management of software. I've actually written a software that is available on sale. I didn't have any clue about software, memory management. But now when I got into learning C, I'm like, oh, so this, like, I'm trying, by taking this C course, I'm learning a lot about a computer that I didn't know. So you see me explaining, okay, when you are running, I think during some of the PLD sessions, I say this thing. When you're about to run a program, the program is the file you have on your hard disk, but to run it, it is moved onto your RAM as a process. I had no idea prior to learning C. So now I think I'm even in a better position to develop good software. Okay, So in as much as they don't use it, then the interesting thing is that because I learned C, now when I look at Java code, like it's easy. Like, oh yeah, I understand every bit of the code that's everything. But prior to this time, when I look at Java, Java is Java. Like Java is that scary language. Like plenty things. I don't know what is happening. Even though I had knowledge of PHP programming. But now I look at Java and I'm like, hey, I can learn this. I don't even need anyone to teach me. In fact, all of you who are going through ALS successfully, I bet you can learn any program of your choice, any language of your choice. And that should be it. Like that should be your thing. It's not about what you are currently learning, but the process. You are learning how to learn these things because then today you are learning C, or probably you are learning let's say C++. Tomorrow C++ will not be what your company that you're working is using, and you have to use something else. In fact, just recently Google launched Carbon, and which is supposed to be more of a replacement for C++. Whoever, which engineer in the world, which software engineer was taught Carbon in school? No one, because they just launched it. Then, now that it has been launched, software engineers who are already on the roll, who needs to use that language, have to go and sit down and learn. You don't have to go back to school. And you and I are fortunate. We are not being spoon-fed in school as every other person, but we are being taught to learn on our own. So that at any point in time, you can just take up any language at all and learn it. So I want to set that example. Now I've decided to learn Java. Hopefully, in the next 30 days, I'll try and be documenting the things in Java that I'm learning for you to see that, hey, this is what we actually got from ALS by teaching us how to learn, how to look for the resources ourselves, how to do all these things by ourselves. Now we can go and learn anything. So I think that is my take on it. It's good we are learning it, whether it is useful or not. It's good we are learning it. It's introducing us to the basis. People still learn how to drive manual cars, even though almost all the cars that are coming are automatic cars. So that's what we are doing here. Okay, so there are good things for us to learn in C. And hopefully, after you have learned C, if you want to jump to C++, I think it wouldn't be much of a headache for you. So I don't have a problem with that. Someone said I should elaborate the printed function and how it works or understand it. I wish I could do it right now, but it is so much work for me to even try explaining it right now. So I wouldn't. I actually decided to do a series of videos and explain how to tackle the task, but then ALS got in the way. There were other tasks that I needed to pay attention to, so I wasn't able to. In fact, I even started writing an article on the printf function and how to go about it. Hopefully, as I'm going on the 1 week break, let's see if I can write it. In fact, it's not part of my plans anyway, but now that you've mentioned it, let's see if I can write it, and let me see if I can get to my dashboard. Okay, let me go to my dashboard. I think I started working on something. So, uh, drafts. There's a lot about the printer function. You would need to understand it very well to be able to do it. So this is what I was working on. Let's open it. I'll show you. If I get the time, I'll try to complete it. The challenge is now there was another project that we were doing. So this is what I've written so far. I was trying to break it down so that anybody at all who goes through it will be able to create their own printf function. Okay, but I haven't been able to complete it, so I can't publish it now. And as I was saying, instead of me focusing on that, there's also another task ahead, the simple shell project, which is also a very tough one. We have finished and submitted. In fact, I still couldn't, all my checks didn't check. And ALS students will understand that. You know how frustrating it is. The deadline is over anyway. And I'd want to, instead of spending my time to get all the marks, I'd rather, my big thing is the understanding. If I can understand it and do the project on my own, I have no problem. I think it was Betty related stuff and some memory leakages that got me along the way. So then now QA is available. So I have seen that that's what was happening, but I really don't want to go back. I want to spend this break trying to also break down the things that you need for the show, especially for the sake of you, the cohort 8 members, so that by the time you get there, you would find that project easy. I think I should mention this, that when I do the lessons I do on YouTube, please pay attention. I don't do them to solve ALS tasks. The lessons I do are for you to understand concepts. So, for instance, the printf project, I had a lot of people reaching out to me that, hey, I wrote the exact code that you wrote during the video, but it was not checking. Why? I'm like, when I was doing it, in as much as it was inspired by ALS stuff, I didn't go and put it in ALS. Like, it was later that I had to go and check, because checker is not even available when you start the program, when you start the project. Okay, so when you see the video is for you to understand. Then now go and do it. Okay, don't take the video like, hey, I came to watch it, I did exactly what you did, and I'm going to submit it to ALS. I don't. If you've realized, I don't have a single video where I came to solve all ALS projects. I don't do those things. I only come here to teach, let you understand. You are going to be a software engineer. You're not going to be solutions architect for ALS tasks. So let's be guided on that. Okay, let's try and focus and get what we can get from them. Do I have tutorials on AWS? Yes, for AWS. Okay, that I have created. I hope that is not the question. I hope that's not the question. Tutorials that I have created. No, I haven't created any AWS tutorials, but I mean, I have resources that I use. I actually bought an online course that I'm using currently. And if you're interested, you just send me a hi and let me know that you are the one. Then I'll see what I can do about that. Okay. By then, all the things I learn, I usually like to teach them, except that we all have 24 hours and we can do as much, uh, not more than that 24 hours offers us. And we are humans, we get tired. I think one thing I've left out when Segun asked the question, I was going to mention that, but I've left it out. You asked two questions, I answered one. I don't know if I've answered the second one. But then I don't even remember the second one, just that I remember I needed to touch on this one. Time. Time. So when people reach out to me and start complaining about ALS, the first question, if you have ever complained to me about ALS, I probably have asked you. The first question is, how much time are you allocating to it? Then when you told me the time, I asked you, I hope Nimanola, if you are watching this, she can attest to it. I asked you to give me a breakdown. You say you are spending 4 hours. Give me the breakdown. How is that 4 hours like? How do you spend those 4 hours on ALS? So me in particular, for now, a lot of the things I do are virtual. I mean, my work related are virtual, where I wake up in the morning. From the time I wake up to like 10, I usually dedicated to my work. Okay, so I'm publishing articles. I manage a number of blogs, so I have to take a look at them. I run my own company as well, just that we offer the services remotely. So when people reach out, I have to discuss, get the deal, assign the tasks to people who have to do the tasks. Then those are the kind of things I do. Then, like recent times, I'm learning for these ALS certifications. So I usually do study with me sessions with a colleague from 10 to 12 live. Then probably if there is no PLD, that means that after 12, that is when I can start learning for ALS. Okay. But then, as I've shown you, I go learn a lot of things, spend little time doing the ALS tasks, then use the rest to try and understand so that I can come and explain things to you. In fact, if I don't know, People who have reached out to me midnight will even realize that deep in the night, you still get access to me because I'm awake. I'm still hunting. All right. So your time is very important. When you were registering for ALX, you saw 70 hours. I don't know if some of us thought it was a joke. Hey, it's 70 hours. And I think personally, pharmacy school has trained me for it. Okay, so because when I was learning pharmacy, imagine I was learning pharmacy and I combined it with learning these things. If I was running my own business from school, I think in officially I launched a company in school in my fourth year. Okay, and I was doing a lot of things going around. I bought a lot of machines, we're doing these things, and I was still managing doing it with school. And it's not as if I was a bad student. In fact, I was an excellent student in school, being able to combine all of this. So it has prepared me for now. So when I saw 70 hours, it didn't look strange to me, but I realized that, hey, I'm ready to go for it. But then I know that we are all not in the same situation. You have to go to work 8 hours, 10 hours, traffic to get home and things. That's the reality. Okay. But then you also have to assess your life. This is my reality. How much time do I really have available? Get to know that number of hours. Is it just 2 hours? If it is just 2 hours, make sure you structure those 2 hours so that you are able to use it effectively. But we are not keeping track of the time that we are spending, and that's where there is a problem. Let's keep track of the time that we are spending. You may not have all the time, so the little time that you have. But if you have all the time and you are still not getting what you need to get, it's time that you have to start talking to people. Try and find out what could be the problem. What could you do better? Okay, very important. All right. The next one says, my question is on your learning system. You ask the questions like, I hope you clarified this, but let me see if I understand. You mean when I'm learning, how do I ask the questions? Right. This morning, I was having a convo with a very good friend of mine. I said that the best question to always ask is why. The best question to always ask is why. So I'm always asking them why. Why did they do this? Why didn't they do this? Why? Like, why is this here? Why did we write this thing? Okay, just by asking myself those questions, I'm beginning to look for the answers. And when you start asking questions like that, it opens your eye when you are reading, because then you are looking for something that you have not seen. I'm looking for why they did this. Okay, see, if you really want to understand, just go and watch that studying in public video I did for Lingless. It's different from the PLD that I did for Lingless. Okay, that one I published it earlier. That is the very first time that I was learning Lingless. I had it. I think I streamed my study periods on Twitch. Yes, so going forward, probably now because I'm doing more of the AWS stuff, I don't do these ones. But I mean, going forward, I want to be streaming most of my learning sessions on Twitch. So those of you who are interested can just follow me on Twitch and see exactly what I'm talking about. But it's just, hey, why this? Why that? Why that? So that when I begin reading, watching videos, I'm looking for answers to the why. If they said something that I didn't see, let me go back. Hey, why did he do this? Is there a reason? Okay, so once I've asked, it doesn't mean when you ask you get the answer, but it opens your eye to look for the answers and you can easily find the answers. All modern programming languages have garbage collectors, yes. I agree with you to do things like memory management and so on. In the real world, time is not on your side and you wouldn't want to allocate memories manually. That is excellent. Very true. We have garbage collectors doing all of that. But wouldn't it be excellent if you know about it? Doesn't mean because there is a garbage collector, you don't need to know about memory management, or it's bad to know about memory management. Okay, so it isn't bad. And besides, there are things, for instance, now that we are learning how to build a shell. Now, if my interest is in, I have met someone who has reached out to me that I asked them why they wanted to learn. So they say, hey, I want to contribute to the Linux operating system. I'm like, interesting. Now you've learned how to build a shell. So that means that you can go ahead to even learn how to contribute, add on to Linux. You know, Linux is an open source project. So if that is their interest, it means you can go there. Like you can venture anywhere at all. So we wouldn't just focus on, hey, because there have been improvements on it, we shouldn't learn it. No, I'm just saying that it exposes us to the actual things that are happening. So that all the abstractions, the things that have been abstracted, now you come to know that, oh, these things actually were there, but they've been abstracted. So if tomorrow you also decide to go and create your own programming language, right? See, I recently, no, it's been a while. I heard someone had created a programming language in our local dialect. I was so excited. But then ask yourself, will you go and use PHP to create a programming language, which is highly unlikely, unless you are doing a framework or a library for PHP. But if you want to create a programming language of your own, maybe you speak Yoruba or whatever, Igbo or whatever language it is that you speak. I speak Nzima. Maybe I want to write a programming language in Nzima. Will I go and use PHP or HTML and CSS to do that? Okay, so let's not close our eyes to the possibilities we see. There are a lot of things that we can achieve with C, even though it is not what we are going to. In fact, it's just an introduction. It's an introduction. Now that we are done for cohort 8 members, we are done with the basis of C, and we are moving on to Python. Then, hey, would you say, why is ALX teaching us Python? No, it's all good. Don't complain if you are getting. I know it's frustrating, especially because of the tasks that we get. Right? If you want to understand the fundamentals of computer science, C is great as it's quite exactly. So that's the point that you have defended for us. So, and I think that every software engineer should know the fundamentals of computer science. You should know, like, if you want to be a great software engineer, you see, we should try and differentiate programmers from software engineers. The fact that you're a programmer doesn't make you a software engineer. So I used to be a programmer because I could program. I've written a software before, but it doesn't mean I'm a software engineer because I didn't even have that in-depth knowledge on data structures. I had no idea about data structures. See, I was applying to a school for their, is it digital health program, or I think no, I think it was their computer science or something. So I reached out to the professor, and the professor said, if only you can show proof, because I told them my experiences that, hey, I know PHP, I know this, I know this. And he said, if you can show proof of knowledge of data structures and algorithm, it was strange to me. Like I didn't know what it was. So then when we started, I mean, that was how I started searching out for data structures and algorithms. And so immediately I saw ALS, I was like, let me go and look for these people, their curriculum. Then I checked, oh, they'll be teaching us data structures and algorithm. I'm in. Because if I want to further my academics, they are looking for it. So I need to prove that, hey, I've taken this course somewhere, like I've done it. Okay, so very important, very, very important. Once we are getting the fundamentals, I think it's something we should be appreciative of. I don't say that to say that it's not difficult. It is difficult. Like we are all going through it, we are all passing through it. But then by the time you are going through it, gold pass through fire to be refined. So just know that you are being refined if you are able to survive the fire. When you taught malloc, you used it as this 100 times that, but when you used it like this, I really don't get it. When I taught malloc, I used it like 100 times size of integer.
I think what the question was about was literally, there are two ways that you can
Oh,
use. So yeah, that
okay,
was what I was talking about.
okay, okay. So I've now gotten what the person is saying. Malloc actually retains a void pointer. So sometimes you have, like, I mean, the ideal thing is you have to cast it. Okay, so hopefully by now you've learned about typecasting. What type your return, you are assigning it to a particular pointer, but what type of data is it? So you have to force it that, hey, you are void, but I want you to return to point to integers. Okay, so that is it. But then it really doesn't matter. Like, it was those times, the olden times, you needed to typecast it, but now you can go without typecasting. In fact, they don't even recommend typecasting any longer. Okay, but if you are doing it, some compilers will give you issues if you don't typecast it. So if you see me doing it and I'm not typecasting, it's because the compiler I'm using is that friendly to not ask me to typecast it. Okay, but then if the compiler you are using forces you to typecast, then you have to. But I realize majority of the compilers available now usually do not have problems with typecasting. You can just go ahead and use it. So hope I've answered that question. When do I stream on Twitch? I wish I could say a specific time, but I don't have. For now, preparing for the AWS training, I usually do 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Usually, that's what I do. But then for the past 2 days, I've been up and going, so I've not done any of the sessions yet. Yeah, so hopefully I don't know. Usually, I don't want to mix AWS stuff with the ALS stuff, and because the group was created for ALS. Otherwise, I could share the links when I'm going. But I think if you subscribe and you, what is it, notification. I don't know how it is in Twitch. Like, you turn on the notification. Anytime I go live, you'll probably be prompted. But most commonly, it's between 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Hey, please, my times are GMT times. I'm in Ghana. So when I say 10 a.m., I mean Ghana time. Okay. How to manage time? My friend, don't always take time to go through the resource. Both of us are beginners. We waste time on learning anything from each other. Oh, how to manage the time? Yeah, so I think, as I said earlier, it begins with how much time you have. So you should find out how much time you have at hand to spend on the task. If you know that you only have 4 hours, those 4 hours, now that you are aware that it's only 4 hours that you have, specify them, the 4 hours. What are those 4 hours? Is it 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.? That is the 1 hour. Note that that is 1 hour. And anytime you are going to sit down, you are going to sit down and use that 1 hour for something. So if it is 4 hours that you have, my advice would be, don't spend more than 1 hour on the ALS task itself. I don't mean the resources, I mean the task itself. If you are struggling with the task, ask somebody, let them give you insight. Don't waste all the time. And don't, you said my friend, he's also a beginner, we don't understand any. Like, I mean, if the two of you are not understanding, there are people who understand. Let's reach out to them. Don't waste the time trying to figure all these things out. See, you see and you think that I'm at the peak. When I read every task, I understand. I don't. And that's the reality. I can't come and pretend as if it doesn't happen to me. When I read a task, sometimes I suffer, I struggle with the task. Like this shell project, I had to burn the midnight candle for days to be able to understand what was happening before I finally came out to do one video, two videos. Then it was becoming too hectic. I had to stay away, try and understand them, meet up with my team, try and do the work. You see, but at any point in time, there are people. That is the essence of being here. Because these things that we are learning, you could have learned it on your own. This C programming, you could have just sat somewhere without joining ALS and learned it on your own. But ALS has brought together a lot of people. In fact, that's the essence of going to school. You now have a lot of colleagues and even senior colleagues. Just reach out to somebody. There are even technical mentors that you can reach out to. Okay. So talk to somebody. Like, just get. And one thing that I should also say is, those of you who get to understand a concept, know very well that there are a lot of people who don't understand the concepts that you have gotten the understanding to. Don't keep it to yourself. because then I am a living proof of what I'm about to say. When you go to teach, you become better at it. Like you get to understand it more. So the moment you finish your task and you think, hey, I understand this, just go scouting. Who doesn't understand? So you can have your smaller groups. In fact, I was telling Segun earlier that this group that I've created where we come to Telegram to do these live sessions and you get to see them, it started as just a small group of people that I wanted to help. Okay, then eventually we expanded it. But it shouldn't be like everybody is going to create a big group. That shouldn't necessarily be your goal. But at the end of the day, you should have one or two people that whenever you understand, you are going to be able to teach them. And you should have that set of people that when you don't understand, you want to reach out to them. Okay, so don't spend more than 1 hour on just the task. If you have only 4 hours, spend the rest of the time trying to understand the concept itself and the task. Then write code every single day. Write code. So let me chip in this advice, which I think is very important. What I've been doing of recent times. There's a concept known as learning in public, where I'm making you people keep me accountable. By showing up for every PLD, I know that I can't go a day without learning because tomorrow's PLD, I have to come and teach. So you people are indirectly forcing me to learn. Okay? Then if you go to Twitter, those of you who follow me on Twitter now would realize what I'm doing on Twitter. In fact, I actually had a previous Twitter account. But then I realized that, hey, this is what I want to do. I created a new account. I said purposely for this. Initially, that wasn't the goal. But once I started ALS, I said, hey, let me use this Twitter account for this thing. So every single day, what I learn, I tweet about what I learn to show that, hey, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. So I'm committing myself to showing the public what I am learning. And that pushes me to keep learning. I have to keep learning because I have to come and report what I learned. Okay, so just get someone, some two friends, some three people, then stay in, become accountable to them every day. Ask them, hey, today what did you learn? In fact, you can, I don't know, Emmanuel, I don't know if you are here. If you are here, send a message. Let me know that you are here. Emanuela is one person that I have tasked to do that. And what she does is every single day when she learns, whatever she learns, she sends me the things that, hey, this is summary of what I learned today. This. And if she has questions, she'll come and ask that these are the questions that I had from what I learned today. Okay, so you should have that state of accountability. That will guide you, that will help you not to waste much of the time that you have. Okay, how much time would I allocate on reading the materials? For as long as you don't understand the materials, you have to be reading it. So I'm saying that don't waste a lot of time on the task itself. Okay, because the task is time bound. If it wasn't time bound, then it's a different story altogether. It's time bound, there are deadlines. So as soon as possible, when you have gotten the basic knowledge, just ask people to explain some of the things to you, then solve it, submit it. When you submit it, now take all the time you have to understand, write the code on your own. So if I open my Replit account, you realize that a lot of the things that I did on ALS, I have been doing them in Replit as well. If I open my VM, you would realize that inside my VM, a lot of the things that I did on ALS, I have done them on my VM for my own use as well. Then I also write my own code, things that I'm thinking about that hey, when I'm going to teach, I'm going to be using this example. Let me try it out. Then I write my own program. Okay. So as for the time for reading the materials, you can spend as much time as you want, but make sure that you're not just reading, you are coding. It's all about writing the code. Even if it takes you writing exactly what they have written, just go ahead and do it, but make sure you understand every little thing that you are typing. Okay, so the first line that you wrote, do you understand it? The declaration of variable that you did, do you understand it? Okay, so every single line of code that you're writing, just make sure that you understand it. Okay, so Thank you, Caleb. I think you were answering the question that someone asked earlier. Why are you using pointer in strings? I've seen strings without pointer. Even this one, you would only have called your char f name with the square brackets for it to be correct. Otherwise, what you have written is not correct. All right. So I don't know. I've already done a POD on this, and I think I explained it. There are two ways that you can represent the strings. You can use the pointer notation, or you can use the array notation. Okay, because we know that a string is basically an array of characters. All right. So we can equally have the pointer for representing strings, and we can have the arrays for representing strings, and they all come with their own peculiarities, so you have to look at them. And I think I've done a pod on it. Yes, I think so. So kindly check the channel out. You would find a video on pointers and strings, I think. Oh, I shouldn't stop on uploading videos on ALS course. All right, I hear you. So I wouldn't stop. Hopefully, I'll keep doing it. It's not easy, but once, so far as we keep doing the PODs, obviously I'll be uploading it. I even look forward to creating like short videos. I think, and a number of recommendations have come through, because the PLDs are quite long, and it's not my fault. I have to try and break everything down for everyone to perfectly understand it. So I'll try. I'll keep my best, at least for the ones focused on ALS. I'll try and be doing the PLDs, but then I'll also try, if possible, do short videos. So if, let's say, the strings in C that you are worried about, I'll just do like 5 to 8 minutes video explaining strings and how to use it. But the thing is, programming sometimes have to write the code and things. And I'm not a fan of cutting out the debugging stages. Okay, because sometimes I'm doing something like I'm debugging, I'll debug for minutes. Like I'm struggling with it. I'm trying to figure it out. But then if I'm coming to show you, or I'm publishing it as a YouTube video, I'll cut those ones out, because you people want short videos. And that is what you are not seeing. You are not seeing that challenges that I had that I overcame. But then the challenges I overcame are what makes me good. Okay, that's what gives you the skill. So in as much as you get a videos, let's try and practice, because then you pick out these skills. Any final set of questions? Otherwise, we'll probably be bringing our session to an end. My guest, do you have any? Yes,
Well, Dr. Obed, it's
yes.
always an achievement, to be very honest with you. Whenever I get we get this uh, whenever we get this whenever we get this discourse with you, I honestly appreciate it, and I can tell that
Mm,
thousands of ALX students are so grateful for this opportunity, and
happy to hear.
don't want you to stop. And if there's every means possible for us to keep on supporting in terms of you, because you're doing a great work for us, helping to make things easy, and there is no way we can appreciate you than um, just having to support in ways we can. Please don't hesitate to let us know in the groups, and for anyone who is also interested in joining the groups and all that, please, because a lot of persons want to have access to you. We also understand
I know.
um, how this thing is, so please, we really appreciate this a lot.
Mm.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, so let me touch on the groups one, having access to the group. So for now, the Telegram group is opened. Anyone at all can join the Telegram group, except that I closely manage my groups. so that it's not open to just anybody at all. Okay, because there are a lot of scammers out there. So I'm very careful about groups. If you realize, most of the times I share the link myself. Like somebody will reach out and I say, hey, like even on YouTube, people in the comment section requesting for group, I ask you to reach out personally because I could have put it there in the video description. If you are interested, join the group and we'll get a lot of people joining. But if you take the you go through the pain to search for the link and join, I know that hey, you are up to something, you are really after something. So when I'm bringing you in, then I can easily bring you in. All right. So for the Telegram group, it is open. In fact, initially it was for cohort 7 members, but now I'm trying to make it open so that hopefully even in the near future it will be a group that will still maintain where we'll have a lot of software engineers from Africa being in there. So if you are in any other cohorts and you are interested in joining, just let us know. We'll find a way to keep you in the group. You have access to a lot of the cohort 7 members and other cohort members that you can ask questions and literally get someone to help you. And from there, you can even spot people and just reach out to them to seek for help. So I think that's one of the reasons why you should also be interested in joining the group. For the WhatsApp group currently is only the cohort 8 members that I've created a special WhatsApp group for, and it's not also public. I think those who are in know, every single person in there got in there because I gave them the group link. Okay. So I also don't like where people will just jump in and start talking about unnecessary things. I've been in a lot of WhatsApp groups and I know what I mean. And I manage a lot of WhatsApp groups, and each of my groups I don't tolerate those things. Like if it is a group for us to learn, it should be strictly for that. Okay. So that is why I'm not throwing out the link around for anybody at all to join. But if you are interested, you can always reach me. In fact, getting me is not difficult. Those who know. My name is Obed Ehonia. I prefer it in Ehonia Obed. I mean, so every platform you go, Ehonia Obed, you find me. Every platform, LinkedIn, that same name, that same, Twitter, Insta, where everywhere you find me there. But then for now, I respond mostly to messages in on Twitter because I'm trying to. That's where I usually go to show myself accountable. So almost every day I go to Twitter. Then WhatsApp is a primary platform for me, but then I have a lot of things happening on WhatsApp. So it becomes tedious answering to everyone. And I feel bad if somebody needs help and I'm not able to help. Okay. So that is why I prefer put the thing in a group. And if possible, you can equally tag me. It doesn't mean I'm the only one who is supposed to answer. But then anytime I'm scrolling and I see a tag in a group, I know hey, someone is looking for me here. Then I jump into the group to see what they have. If I have time to respond to it, I'll respond to it. Okay. But one on one, I've seen a lot of people reach out, but it's not easy. It's not easy trying to answer everyone. So I think my advice would be if you really want my attention, put it in a group and tag me. That would be the easiest way to get my attention. All right. What what else? Something. What else are you doing from ALS and how do you manage them? Oh, I think I've already explained this. I do a lot of online stuff. I run my own company, which is like a web development company. So we build websites, we do graphic design, and the rest. In fact, I do a lot of IT related stuff. So I get a number of people reaching out for IT related stuff. And that's what I basically do. And I do blogging, I teach blogging as well. So for now, as for pharmacy, I'm on hold for now. I'm not practicing pharmacy, but I do all of these things. And your concern is how I manage all of them. You know, like I manage because I have to. I this is not the first time. I think me have been like this for a while. So me telling you wouldn't really make a difference. Okay, what will make a difference is you trying to understand the time that you have and how you use it. Okay, because I know the time I have. I just as I'm saying, I hardly sleep early. I go to bed late. I wake up early. Like I'm doing hard stuff, as ALS would say. I'm doing the hard stuff really. So, so just know the time that you have and try and apportion it. Okay, we all have a lot going on we have to attend to, but then anytime I'm giving time away to something, I know that I have to pull that time from somewhere in order to make my ends meet. Like, I mean, so that is what is guiding me. This last one, I love to write articles on what I have learned, but I get confused on where to start. Steps to take. Let's start from this angle. If you learned something right now and I ask you, share with me what you learned, can you write it out for me? Let's start from there. Okay. So Ola, just keep your focus there. Like whatever you learned today, before you come and write, you just assume that Obed, I'm asking you to write about, tell me what you learned. Okay, so just start from anywhere. Tell me what you learned. What did you learn? So let's start from today. I think when you check hash node, don't I have something like that? Let me try and see my first blog post. Let's go down to the first one. You see, something like this. See where I started from. During a peer learning day discussion amongst myself and my colleagues in the ALX Software Engineering, we tagged ourselves with. Okay, so that is how, just describe what you've done. Okay, it is by doing that you become better. I personally, as I'm saying, I manage a number of blogs, so I'm a content creator. I've written a lot of articles, so it gets easier with time. I mean, it gets easier with time. So let's start with this one. What did I write here? So I started. In one of our Linus assignments as software engineering students at ALS, we were to write a script that converts a given value from base 2 to decimal, that's base 10. The specific question we were given stated that. So now I'm coming to share with you what I learned. Okay, where did I start? The specific question I'm trying to explain how I understand. Therefore, we will look at how to create a script that converts any number from base 2. Let's begin by taking a look at how, you see how it's going. So there isn't a set format that you should go with it. Just start with, hey, you learned something today, so share with me what you learned. All right. So just go straight to the point. Today, I decided to take a look at singly linked list. Upon learning singly linked list, I feel that there are a few challenges that I needed to clear. Just flesh it out. Anything at all that you learn, just put it out there. Okay, it is by doing, then eventually you now realize that, hey, this is how to structure this is how to structure this. And my advice on this is that it's something I really encourage: writing articles, or if you're not the lengthy type of person, you can use Twitter to a mini blog. Say, what did you learn today? So right now, those of you who are here, let me probably tax you. You go to Twitter, then you go and tell Twitter, today you join a live session with, probably tag me up there. What did you learn from this live session? That's how we start writing. Okay. So today during our live session with Obed, I learned that this. Okay. Or I should be accountable. So going forward, I'm going to be tweeting on my progress. We've done one. Tomorrow you start. Oh, I learned linked list today. I realized that to use a linked list, blah, 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 blah. You are done. But if you are also doing the long form content, yes, just go ahead, write what you learned. What did you learn? What resources did you use? So I read from this book and I went to YouTube to check YouTube. The YouTube video made it clearer, but I think I still had some issues here. When I tried tackling my ALX tax, it was a bit difficult. I didn't understand. So I spoke to a friend, and this friend explained that we could do this. We tried it and it worked. That is how you go about it. Okay, so don't think too much about it. In fact, I've been there before, but probably having someone who has done it before sharing their experience with you will help. So I think this should help you. When we started ALS, I was actually thinking about how to create videos and put it out there. And I didn't know, am I just coming to start and just start teaching or what? Like, I didn't know. But eventually, it turned out that, hey, the PLD videos were good. People were liking it. So let's put it on YouTube. And people on YouTube also like it. Good. Then now let's keep doing it. So until you put it out there, you wouldn't be able to tell whether it's good or not. So just keep putting it out there. Those of you who are still here, as I said, you can equally go to Twitter. Erenia Obed is my name on Twitter. Just tag me. Let me know what you learned today. I will definitely come and retweet it. Then also, don't hesitate to teach people, manage your time well. Spend little time on doing ALS tasks, but more time on practicing what you learn. Write code. Try and use a number of you have not set up your virtual machines. Try and set up a virtual machine. If you don't have, but you have constant access to internet, then use Replit. You can use Replit to write your codes. Okay, use Replit to write your code, and I think you should be good with the information we have. Probably we'll meet some other time. I'll try and organize several of such sessions where we do more of a Q&A apart from the tax related stuff. So hopefully I'll see you some other time. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you all for being here. And till we meet again, I think it will be a bye for now. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.